Today, the Chinese Communist Party poses a military threat to America and our allies, an economic threat to our companies, and an ideological challenge around the world. The Chinese Communist Party believes it has learned from the mistakes of the Soviet Union, and it wants to compete on all three fronts. For years, leaders made the mistake of thinking the CCP wanted a competition. Our hopes for the Chinese people led American policymakers to believe that if we could make the People's Republic of China as rich as the West, then liberty would follow. However, the CCP understood that communism can never compete with freedom when it comes to human happiness or prosperity. They know that the only way they could win was for us to lose. The policies undertaken by the Chinese Communist Party, from poisoning our nation with fentanyl to crippling our economy through abusive trade practices and IP theft, are all aimed at destroying American society. The CCP approaches the United States as an enemy to be harmed rather than as a partner. For the past 2 years, the Select Committee has demonstrated how the CCP's aggression in areas like fentanyl, IP theft, transnational repression, Taiwan, and trade are all different fronts in the same war. There's nothing normal about the CCP's state-led mercantilist industrial policy that cripples American industry through illegal subsidies, IP theft, and the use of slave labor. There's also nothing normal, let alone most favored, about our trading relationship with China. It's time for U.S. law to reflect that through new tariff rates that target strategic sectors and boost supply chain resilience. Congress must work with the administration to reduce the flow of de minimis shipments into the United States, a loophole that this year alone will allow more than 1 billion shipments to enter the United States, exempt from duties, taxes, and strict scrutiny. We must stem the flow of American capital and technology that is fueling the Chinese military modernization and human rights abuses. American dollars should not finance companies that are developing technology that could someday be used against American service members in a conflict, nor aiding the CCP's genocide of Uyghur Muslims. I know this is a priority of incoming Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. We must recognize, as my friend and former colleague Mike Waltz does, that there is no such thing as a private company in China. The CCP's 2017 national security law requires every Chinese company to obey the party and advance what the CCP terms national security. If Chinese companies aren't trying to advance the CCP's interests, they are violating Chinese law. There's no better example than ByteDance. It's the parent company of TikTok, which is so closely tied to the CCP that the Chinese government directly appoints a member of the board. Last spring, bipartisan majorities in the House and Senate passed our Select Committee's bill that requires TikTok to divest from parent company ByteDance. Our legislation provides President Trump with the leverage he needs to make the deal of the century, a deal that would keep TikTok available to the American users, but outside the control of the Chinese Communist Party. Our goal when it comes to TikTok is the same as our goal with trade, defense, education, and every other aspect of our rivalry with the CCP. To safeguard freedom against those who see their only hope for survival in its destruction. The CCP knows the same thing we do, that freedom will triumph in an open competition. I'm proud to carry forward the Select Committee's bipartisan mission, and I look forward to working with the Trump administration to win the competition against the CCP.